Finally, the pain is over. 17% in the green today. Double bottomed perfectly. The bear flag iteration is now complete. The retest is now complete. We are now in the process of our confirmation move. Everything looks perfect. Jumping into the video, just starting with the macro. Same story as always. Macro break right here. Macro break right here. These gap downs you see in this blue box. Legging down, just a reiterating bear flag over and over, trading in a descending wedge from 2017 until you squeeze January 2021. The comparable would be the descending wedge you see here from the breakdown in the flag from the June highs. So just legging down on both sides, one step at a time. The downtrend is labeled by the boxes, and then usually I have lines here too. 6 points taking you to the end of the blue on both sides before dropping to the flat portion, where you have 3 touches on the bottom, and then from that third touch, you form an uptrend, break out of the descending wedge, retest, and then squeeze. So over here, same thing, 1, 2, and 3, the breakout and the retest. Again, a very dramatic retest here, but it is a retest nonetheless, and it confirmed today. So moving on from that, just getting into the actual downtrend itself, the macro pattern on AMC, which is a descending wedge, and the halts are illustrating that as well. So very strong resistance up top, very strong support on the bottom. Halted in March, halted again in August. Every time you came close to this upper resistance, halted, and we've also seen halts to the downside when we were getting near support. And then the final iteration on AMC we're currently in right now, the bilateral triangle here that we were trading in for almost a year. Very tight range here all the way through. This triangle actually broke us out of the wedge, and the breakout of the triangle coinciding with the break out of the descending wedge. Halted on the breakout to come down and retest both the bilateral triangle, which we bounced off, and then knifed to come test the descending wedge, and now forming a very nice bottom here and curling to the upside. This looks absolutely perfect. I'm expecting upside for the coming days. Getting into the retest now, and I've been showing this every video. I'm going to continue to show this because this is the current tracking on AMC. I've been tracking this from July 24th until today. This chart is a little bit old. Again, I was live streaming 3 weeks ago, drawing the price action before it even happened, just as far as the tracking went. Absolutely perfect here. The updated chart is right here. All of the same movement on both sides. The gap up, the wick, the gap, the wick, the top. Come down to the red line. Stair-step move to the blue, as you see here. The uptrend that you see here, forming higher lows, and then you break below it, come back up, and reject. Same thing you see over here. And then from there, you gap down on both sides. We were looking for a gap down to this white line here, like we saw previously, but we actually ended up gapping down lower. Again, we had to gap down lower because we had to retest the macro pattern being the descending wedge here. We had to come this low to retest this trend. Just as the slope of this trend, we had to come this low to retest it. AMC and 8 meeting at the exact same price to the penny for the conversion, filling all the gaps to the downside on AMC in general, not even on the daily. All of the gaps that were open to the downside from the January 2021 squeeze are now filled. I'm going to be getting into that. Shaking out paper hands, triggering stop losses, all of the reasons I've gone over. Showing why we gap down lower, but the price action once again is playing out exactly how we want to see. From the gap down, you get this uptrend forming higher highs and higher lows that you see here, and then from there you come down to a lower low as we did to retest the macro, and now bounced off 17% in the green today. That trend that I was talking about in my last video, we actually broke it. I'll get into that in a little bit. I just want to show this because I want everyone to understand what I'm showing you here. Again, I've been tracking the flat portion for months, since my time on YouTube. So this is the breakout and retest iteration. Exactly what I just showed you, the gap up, the wick, the top, and then all of this movement here, this gap down to the white line, and then what we're seeing over here, down below, it's showing you this is what we're looking at zoomed in. We're looking at this iteration right here, your breakout and retest iteration that you gap up from and squeeze compared to the one that we're seeing right now. Again, just on the macro, we're looking at is this yellow box here versus this yellow box here, and then just zooming in, what we're looking at, the tracking is up top, what I've been tracking for since July 24th until today. And then on the bottom, it's just showing you what we're looking at on a smaller time frame is this move here comparably to this move here. So this looks absolutely perfect. Retest confirmed. It's time to go. It is time to form an uptrend here. I'm assuming this move is going to play out symmetrically, so we might be seeing some pretty green days, 10-20% green days like we saw today, moving forward from here until we get to a certain level, and I'll go over that. From that level, we'll be seeing a very big move to the upside and then a gap up from there. So just zooming in on the micro now. If you remember in my last video, I didn't make a video yesterday, but my video the other day, I was saying that I wanted to see us start forming an uptrend, and that yesterday I wouldn't mind if we gapped even lower than the low we saw, what's today, Wednesday? On Monday, we wicked down to 1090. This was actually the retest on the trend. This was the only touch on the trend right here. We actually wicked into it and then confirmed. And then Tuesday, I said I wouldn't mind to see a wick lower, which we did. We wicked to 1073, I believe, and then closed flat. And then today, we double bottomed perfectly at 1073, and then 17% in the green from there. Perfect double bottom here, and now forming higher highs. So this is exactly what we want to see. Downtrend's done here. Completely convinced downtrend is complete. Retest is complete. It's time to fucking take off. It's time to go. Straight green from here. So getting into the downside levels once again, there was a gap right here. I forget the exact price of it. This gap up that you're seeing here, we actually filled this yesterday. This yellow dashed line here was the low of the day yesterday, which we also double bottomed today before we bounced off 17% into the green, and then the red line being all-time lows. So that wick down that we saw yesterday and the double bottom today was 1073, filled the last open gap to the downside from the 2021 cycle, all-time lows being 1040, that level that we don't want to break. Bounced right off 1073, 17% to the green, higher low on the macro, exactly what we wanted to see. Getting us the fuck out of this range. It's time to go. Retest confirmed. Time to see some green. The fib spiral. Really quickly touching on this. Again, all-time lows on AMC to all-time highs on AMC starting at IPO. The first touch point on the spiral is the original flat portion that led to the January squeeze. The January squeeze retraced, bounced right off the spiral right here, where you reject the top of the spiral in June. And then from June, obviously lower highs and lower lows all the way down until today. And now pushing the resistance of the spiral again. And once again, the spiral is pointing at a price target of $2,600 roughly. Now getting into it zoomed in. Here it is. So this was the breakout. This gap up right here was the breakout iteration of the bilateral triangle, as well as the descending wedge. The retest of the bilateral triangle took you pretty much to the resistance of the spiral. From there, you gap down. You got the uptrend we were looking for, and then the downtrend to a lower low. And again, just fighting for the resistance of the spiral here. Actually closed over today. Broke over the spiral today, closed over it. This is the bottom here. I'm completely convinced. This looks very bottomy on every time frame. Perfect double bottom today. 17% bounce off. Absolutely love what I'm seeing right now. Expecting more green. And then really quickly, one last thing. AMC and GameStop are both about the squeeze. Which this squeeze, there's a few different ways you can look at it, but it's very possible that this squeeze is the MOAS for real. My price target is $1,400. That hasn't changed. But, you know, just as far as AMC and GameStop go, they are tracking exactly the same and both in the middle of their retest. Actually, GME was a few days ahead of us, but I believe we caught up today. This was the confirmation of GME's retest and the confirmation of ours today. Pretty much synced up perfectly with GameStop and more than likely going to be squeezing at the exact same time. So that's pretty much everything I wanted to talk about. A very quick video. Before I do end it, though, I wanted to go over one more thing. So I'm assuming this move is going to play out somewhat symmetrically, where we're just going to start legging up inversely to how we saw legging down. So this reiterating bear flag over and over again that we saw, I'm assuming that's what the price action is going to look like on the other side of this. As far as landmarks go for this move that we're looking for, and by the way, this move will be taking us to $100, just landmark wise. It'll be taking us past this top here, which was roughly $80, this top. So we're looking for a move to $100. the actual the boom candles of this move here, this is the confirmation move, pretty much coming from the midpoint of the uptrend. So the equivalent over here would be roughly, I would say anywhere from $34 to $38 is what we're looking for. So the way I would love to see this play out is just an inverse of the bear flag down. I would like to see that on the other side coming up now until that $34 to $38 range, and then from there, just an absolute fucking boom candle. Crazy green day, the confirmation move that we're looking for to $100. And then from $100, from that, that's my price target as far as the retest goes. We will be gapping up, and from there, straight line to your squeeze. And that's pretty much it. Price targets obviously haven't changed. My price target is $1,400. The Fibonacci spiral is pointing at $2,600. Both are completely valid. I would say mine's a little bit more conservative. And that's pretty much it for the video. 10 minutes, pretty quick. Let's see some more fucking green tomorrow. Absolutely perfect day today. Exactly what I wanted to see.